5% is expected to come from auto. So I can tell you, as far as auto is concerned, and in fact, generally speaking, it's certainly certain that animal spirits are back.
So over to you, Mr. Kapoor. What do you think, whether the animal spirits in India Inc. is back?
So I'll give you from our experience of running Ananta Capital, which is a buyout fund focused on buying out consumer product companies, and we have investments in varied consumer sectors of India. And absolutely yes, the animal spirits are back. Can they be better? My sense is yes. If the current government gets a resounding mandate, maybe next year, the animal spirits will be even better. And we've seen that in the last few years in India, across sectors. So Shashank spoke about auto. I'll talk about multiple other consumer sectors. The optimism in the industry is actually phenomenal. And we've been in this industry for the last many years now. The last few years, the optimism when it comes to capital deployment, looking into the future, not let's say the next few quarters, next few months. It's about how can India play a significantly larger global role in the consumer space, specifically with respect to our fund. And so absolutely yes, animal spirits are back. Can they be better? My sense is yes, they can be even better.
Sure. So coming to you, Mr. Srivastava, since you are one of the biggest player in auto sector and manufacturing sector as well, my question to you, we know that Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman from various platforms have said that to drive India's GDP growth, private capex has to be ramped up. So how do you assess the private capex as of now, and what is your outlook going forward? We can specifically talk about Maruti Suzuki as well.
Yeah, of course, as I just mentioned, for the auto industry, the plan is to take from the contribution of about 7.5%, 7.7% of GDP to in excess of 12%. And that obviously means that there has to be a large expenditure on capital in order to promote the growth, which I said will be in passenger vehicles reaching 6 million. And Maruti Suzuki has already announced we are going to invest 1.25 trillion rupees in the next few years, including creating capacities like in Kharkhoda. We will be creating another plant which we are in the process of shortlisting the actual site. So where in Kharkhoda the capacity which we are creating is 1 million vehicles annually. This is the largest single place of, it is the largest capacity anywhere in the world. And that is actually the state of India is the third largest passenger vehicle industry in the world. And it's going to get even bigger and I'll give you just a flavor of the enormity of the growth that should come from manufacturing, especially in automobile. Maruti Suzuki, we should be doing about 2 million plus this year. Last year we missed it by just a few numbers. So this journey took 40 years. But we are planning 4 million by 2030. So the next 2 million is going to come in just 6 to 7 years. That's the scale of and the enormity of growth that we see in the manufacturing sector. And definitely, as far as capex is concerned, you will see a huge growth.
And Mr. Kapoor, how do you assess the outlook for private capex going forward?
So capital expenditure, if you see by its nature, is something where entrepreneurs, companies commit to something which is going to reap rewards over a period of time. It is unlike revenue expenditure where you spend today, you get immediate gratification. The only thing an entrepreneur, or I would say from various things they look at, one of the most important is predictability, stability. And that stability has to be of the political environment, economic environment, social environment. And again, the first question you asked, my sense is there has rarely been a better time in terms of having economic predictability, social predictability, political predictability. In terms of some numbers that why and how will corporate India commit to private capex, and because this has been one of the issues in the last 5 years. If you see economic trends, macroeconomic factors, last few years GDP growth has mostly been coming from government expenditure. private expenditure has been at a macro level lagging. Some of the industries obviously have been doing well, some of them have not been doing well. But largely speaking, it is the government sector which has been committing to capex. Now what has happened is that the corporate debt to GDP ratio of India Inc. as a whole is, my sense is at a 2-decade low. So maybe 17 years back we had the metric of corporate debt to GDP, which was at this point. On the other hand, the balance sheet of banks has never been healthier in the last many years.
Right.
So on one side you have demand, which is that the balance sheet of companies have enough scope now to commit to capex. And on the other side, the supply of capital, which is banks, equity markets, capital markets, are kind of roaring to provide that capital. So there has never been that better, I would say, mixture of these, of all these individual items to contribute to capex cycle.
So Mr. Srivastava, let me come to you. We know a lot of work has been done as far as ease of doing business is concerned in India. So since you're one of the largest player, I would like to pose this question in front of you. How do you see progress on ease of doing business, and what more needs to be done?
Absolutely. I think it has improved dramatically, and I think all studies show that. And it's not just one or two actions of the government, but across the board, across all sectors. So it's not just about manufacturing or financing or environment or things like that, but it's across all, and that's why the ease of business obviously has got better. And but I think if you look at manufacturing, what needs to be done apart from ease of business, he has mentioned about the political stability and the economic stable policies. But I think if you look at the return on invested capital, manufacturing in India, it's in many cases less than the cost of capital itself. So we need to increase productivity, which apart from ease of business, productivity means investment in automation, investment in new processes, investment in upskilling, including accessing of capital, which is like roughly 5 times the GVA, and GVA in manufacturing roughly expected $400 billion. That means you could expect about 1.5 trillion investments, so accessing capital, of course promoting localization, and all this is coming through ease of business as a major part, not only in getting clearances, but also in how the whole financial system works, the entire labor system works. So I think yes, the ease of business definitely got better.
And Mr. Kapoor, your take on the progress on ease of doing business?
So absolutely again, and I was just a while back reading about World Bank ease of doing business definition. And you'll be actually surprised to know what constitutes ease of doing business. It is not that you have to be the most innovative economy, the most deepened capital markets. It is actually the speed at which a company can get incorporated, the speed at which electricity license can be taken by a factory, the ease with which construction can be allowed. And these are all extremely basic things, right, and which is what the government of today has done in the last few years. And I think India used to be about 170 odd on the list. We are, I think, about 60, 65 right now. The aim of the Prime Minister is to come in the top 50. Definitely it has gone up significantly, and there is no other sector, mini sector within the economy than startups to validate this point. Because startups is all about speed. How fast can you get off the ground? How fast can you get to production, which can be, let's say, production of XYZ in industries. The speed at which startups have come in India, the speed at which they have grown. I was hearing some people that Aman had a fantastic session on BOAT, which is a phenomenal Make in India story. And it is again a testimony to ease of doing business, and which has significantly improved, I can tell you from personal experience.
And the next question that I want to ask you, Mr. Srivastava, is that we know that India Inc.'s profitability in Q1 and Q2 has been quite robust. So how do you see the profitable trajectory going forward? And do you think that there are any challenges in front of the profitability?
Yes, I just mentioned the return on capital. Of course, that's related to overall profitability, and it's been going up for business. And I think from here it should go up even more. Not just because a large number of companies in the manufacturing sector are still below the cost of capital in terms of return, but also I expect going forward the type of economy that we are developing, especially the sunrise industries where we have a major push now in every industry, the automation that we are doing, the skilling that we are doing, the investments in analytics and so on and so forth. I think the productivity will go up. And I'm not talking just productivity of capital, but also productivity of labor. By the way, productivity of labor in India is one half of what say even in Indonesia, right. 1/4 of what's in China or Korea, and in electronics 1/30th of what's there in Korea. So there is a huge upside which we can, and I think we have set up a platform really good, and I would expect this ratio to go up substantially.
And how do you see a profitable trajectory going forward?
So profitability, I agree with Shashank, but I would say it's a bit of a more nuanced issue. So as I was saying, private capex in India has been a little disappointing over the last few years, in the last 3-4 years. And capex investment, looking into the cycle, let's say 10 years in advance, sometimes does not lead to immediate profitability. As you would see, for example, Republic, what Arnab has built, if you're taking a 10-year view of a business, if you're taking a 10-year view of, let's say, auto in Maruti, you may have some years ahead of you which will not be as profitable. The profitability to GDP ratio broadly is about what, 4.5-5% right now?
Right.
You have a sense what is it in US right now? It's maybe 17-18%. Do we want to be where US is in terms of GDP growth? Absolutely not. US is growing at about 2-2.5%. India is growing at about 7.5, 8, 7ish kind of range. So when you are pushing so hard on growth, there will come intervals of time when the profitability will not be that high. My sense is that if the capex cycle turns in favor of private capex now, you may see this ratio getting down a little, but over time definitely profitability ratio to GDP is going to improve.
So due to paucity of time, I would like to come to you and take your closing comments. Mr. Srivastava, one word that comes to your mind when you envision India Inc. 10 years from now. How do you see India Inc. and from 10 years from now, and one word that strikes your mind?
Khushal.
Okay. And Mr. Kapoor?
So one, I have a wish that if our PM was 10 years younger, it would be fantastic. That next 10 years will be even more fantastic for India. But one word, one phrase which comes to mind is a roaring tiger.
Okay, so we are ending it on a right note. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us at India Economics Summit brought to you by Republic Business. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us today, and a huge round of applause for this panel. And today, on this very special occasion of the launch of Republic Business, we are announcing some special awards. Our first award is in the category of Republic Business Brilliance. That goes to ACO General Insurance. ACO is a trusted insurer with an ambition of leading a paradigm shift that ensures the ease of securing a policy. ACO is disrupting the life insurance space. ACO's much awaited foray into the life insurance space is being touted to be the next big thing in the BFSI space. Please put your hands together for the vision envisaging user-friendly insurance. Let's take a look at this series.
Launched in 2016, ACO has emerged as India's leading digital insurer. They've revved up insurance with technology and given it a snazzy makeover, cutting down the frills, lending a special appeal. ACO's marketing strategy has been the talk of the town. Whether it was bringing back India's favorite duo, Munna Circuit on the screen,
ऑफिस ने तेरे को हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस दिया ना?
बहुत कम है भाई।
तो एको से टॉप अप करा ना मामू।
Or bridging the generational gap by selling car insurance.
न्यू कार? वाह, इंश्योरेंस लिया?
Of course.
एको।
The Bengaluru-based unicorn is truly disrupting the banking, financial services and insurance sector.
Requesting you to say a few words, Ashish.
First of all, big round thanks for Republic Media. It's a huge honor for all of us at ACO. This journey started seven years back when we had a vision that we want to change the way Indians buy insurance and the relationship with insurance. We felt the insurance products were not designed for the consumer, but they were designed the other way around. And we also wanted to sell digitally, which is the theme for the day. So I'm happy to say after 7 years and more than 1 million customers, we are on our way. The journey is still not over. But this award encourages all of us at ACO to continue doing so. Thank you so much.
Many congratulations once again to Ashish Mishra and the entire team of ACO General Insurance. With that, we move on to our next session on the Great Indian Advantage that is dedicated to exploring the myriad advantages that position the Indian economy uniquely on the global stage. In an era of dynamic shifts and global transformations, India stands as a beacon of economic promise, armed with distinctive strengths that sets it apart. Our esteemed panelists are TV Mohandas Pai, Chairman 314 Capital and co-founder and Chairman Aaron Capital. Mr. Pai is currently the Chairman of Aaron Capital, member of the boards of Havells India and the Institute of Public Enterprises, member of the Board of Governors of the National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, NIIF, Governing Council member of the Centre for Advanced Financial Research and Learning, promoted by the Reserve Bank of India, Chairman of the Regulatory and Financial Technology Committee of SEBI. He is also the recipient of the Padma Shri Award and the Karnataka Rajyotsav Award. He'll be in conversation with Mr. Sanjeev Sanyal, member of the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister of India. He's currently a member of the Economic Advisory Council to EACPM. He was the Principal Economic Advisor to the Finance Minister for 5 years till February 2022 and the co-chair of the G20's Framework Working Group. Prior to joining the government, he has spent over 2 decades in financial markets and was global strategist and managing director at Deutsche Bank. Mr. Sanyal is the author of a number of best-selling books, including Revolutionaries, Land of the Seven Rivers, The Ocean of Churn, India in the Age of Ideas, and the Indian Renaissance. Let's take a look at this next AV.
Well, it's fantastic to be here sharing the stage with 2 outstanding people, and I want to start by saying that Mr. Mohandas Pai is someone I really look up to. He trolls me endlessly and gets away with it, and he speaks his mind, but to me personally, he's been a mentor and, if I may call, a friend. And right from the first day of entrepreneurship, I have much to thank him for. So thank you, Mr. Pai. Very grateful for that. Thank you. Thank you. And on my left, this handsome dude is 1 year senior from college. He was at Sriram College of Commerce. I was at Hindu. And then we both went to Oxford together. We've shared many, many years of solid friendship. So thank you. But we won't pull our punches, right?
We won't pull our punches.
We won't pull our punches. All right, let's go for it. Sanjeev, I want to start with you, the broad story. I had the first session today, and with both of you, I want to talk about India, macro, growth story, where we are placed, reality, China. I don't want us to be politically correct out here today. We'll do some free talking, right? That's what Republic Business has to bring in, the breath of fresh air to the world of thinking on economy, policy of the country. Sanjeev, your recent video explainers, which I've seen on the digital medium, have gone viral. You've been telling young Indians in fantastic podcasts about the fundamentals of what's going right. And I think you're doing a great job. Now, you are the advisor in the Prime Minister's team. Is anything going wrong? You can't just give me the good story all the time. There must be a bigger challenge. There must be something we can tweak.
So one important thing to understand about economic management is that it's not about at any point in time that things are in a situation where we can just cruise. It's like driving. You have to pay attention to the road all the time. So right now, the economy, as the latest numbers came out, for the first half of the financial year, we grew at about 7.7%. For the year as a whole, we'll grow at something around about 7%. Right? We are doing this without any stress on the macro side. There's no spiraling inflation. The external accounts are fine. The banks are fine, and so on. So you may seem that this looks, in a sense, rosy. But of course, we are hitting these growth rates at a difficult time in world economic situation, in terms of the fact that the rest of the world is actually decelerating. The US Fed has dramatically tightened interest rates over the last 24 odd months. There are serious geopolitical risks. And of course, there's always a random risk of some new thing appearing, pandemic or whatever it is. So a lot of it is about paying attention to the system, adjusting along the way, and creating enough buffers in the system that, should things go wrong, you have enough ammunition to do things. So even during COVID, if you will remember, we didn't blow up our fiscal and monetary reserves. So this is the key.
Yeah.
At this point in time, if our external environment was better, if our exports were growing somewhat faster than they are right now, we could have been doing 8% easily, because our infrastructure, our labor market, etc. will allow us. But we are conservative. And with this conservative...
Is that because we are a democracy? Unlike China.
Well,
let's go cut to the chase.
There are many democracies in the world who are in fact under populist pressure to press the accelerator all the time. Go and do reveries of various kind, blow up the fiscal. In fact, the Western countries that blew up their budgets during COVID were all democracies. And all the experts in the world were telling us to blow up our budget here as well. So it's not about democracy only. It is about political leadership. It's about the technocratic advice you get. And what we did as a country is to hold together, stick to sensible policies even during difficult times, and we are reaping the benefits of that today.
I think the mandate, day before's mandate, has a huge significance, Mohan, because it gives